Okay. You said it went on Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like there wasn't a lot of activity right up front. I was surprised.
Okay. Um, and that's usually a good area,
Yeah, it's on Rabbit Lake's a
right?
nice lake. So yeah,
Okay.
I'd sold the guy actually one that didn't even wasn't even on the market, and they had four showings on it, and it wasn't on the market. Just them talking to people, and I happened to
Huh.
hear about it, and so I brought him over there, and he bought it. But
Right. Okay. Yeah, stale listings can be hard, right? So Vern and Barb, you guys have been in the business for a long time. What kind of things have you done in years past to refreshen a listing? I mean, price is always a thing, right? But we've all had those listings where we've put them on and we are certain price is right. We are certain the price is right, and we still don't have any activity. What tips and tricks have you guys learned over the years?
Um, can you hear me? I don't remember if I'm on or off. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll run another series of Facebook ads just to get it out there. But this
Mhm.
these two are kind of, I feel one is overpriced. The seller just isn't ready to come down yet. And the other one is a duplex that has some condition issues, so the seller's willing to address those. So maybe I'll let him do those and then do another advertising campaign.
Okay, that's an opportunity. Um, Vern, what about you?
um,
What has worked for you before?
I don't know, canceling. You know,
And
I feel like
relisting,
you get rid of them and then somebody else lists them and they sell right away or something. Sometimes it's just weird how it works, but
right?
otherwise, yeah, it's nuts. So like otherwise, it seems like those that sit there, you get worried about them, and then all of a sudden, as soon as one person's interested, everybody is, and I'm like, where you
Right.
been for the last 6 months?
Right.
Right. Sometimes it's just a little bit of time.
Yeah, I
Yep,
think time is a big thing, and people nowadays, it's going to be harder because everybody's expecting expectations now. Well, everything's sold in 2 days. What are you doing?
absolutely. Sellers' expectations are based off of COVID numbers,
You know.
Yeah.
the COVID market, and that's hard to talk to with your sellers, right?
Right.
When you guys do the listing appointments, do you talk to them about the differences in the COVID market versus now?
You can talk to them about it, but they don't, until they go through it, they don't really believe that, their house is different, right? So I,
Always.
so yeah, so I just feel like they're not gonna, I mean, you can show them all numbers and they still in their head are kind of stuck in that multiple offer first day on the market scene. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things to overcome. And you're right, Barb, they don't always listen because theirs is special. Theirs is different, right?
right.
Mm-hmm. Did I do that?
No, I don't know.
No, somebody.
Did it?
Anyway,
Can I write on there?
I think you can. I
I
think
can.
everybody can.
Oh, I
Yes.
think, yeah. So how do we get rid of it?
Oh, I think I could just delete it, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I think it deleted everything. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Or it hid everything. That's okay. Um,
Yeah, so like that Rabbit Lake when I was talking about it, I sold for it was 995, didn't hit the market. And of course, I have another guy I've been looking at his place to list and he's finishing it. And he right away, if they're getting 995 for theirs, mine's worth way more. And the lake shore isn't as nice, of course, and all this stuff. So it's like you just battle that all. It's like why that one property sells for it gets all that activity and sells for way more than what you think it should.
right.
And then the other people all think that's worth that. And I'm like, I don't know why that one sold for that kind of money, but it did. So, but it had
Yep.
really nice lakeshore. So I think that was a lot of it.
That was, yeah, a big piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What other things do you guys do to refresh listings? Facebook advertising, relisting the property, price change is a thing. Um,
You can update some pictures too if it gets there too long. Always keeping updated photos is one thing I try to do. When it snows, obviously, it's like go get some snow pictures and to have all green and
absolutely. Removing snow pictures is a big piece.
or adding them, I think, too, because when it snows and people look and everything is green, it's like, how long's this thing been on the market? And it could be two
Right.
weeks,
Absolutely.
you know.
There's always the open house feature too, but I don't know if that's as effective.
So why do you say that? Why do you think
Well,
open
and
houses aren't as
I
effective?
mean, because it's been sitting there the whole time, right? Unless there's something else that goes with it, like a price reduction. That's just my opinion, but
Sure. Um, Maybe paired with a price reduction. Yeah. Now, when you guys are talking about price reductions, let's say we assume that the property is priced right, right? All of our comps say the property is priced right. Now, a price reduction does put it back up in front of everybody's minds. If you think the property is priced right, what kind of price reduction do you do? 0.5%, 1%, 10,000? Like what's your thought process is there?
I think it just depends on the property. And
Mhm.
you can't, there's no hard and fast rule. At least I don't think there is.
Hmm. I would agree.
If
Every property is
somebody's
different.
motivated, I think if somebody's motivated and if they want to sell, I almost feel like on a bigger dollar property, it's like $50,000 increments for me. I tell them if
Okay.
somebody's looking at 700,000, they can afford 700. The next step down is people say, well, I can go to 650. It's usually not, oh, I can go to 695, so,
Right.
and it's a lot and it's hard to sometimes get them to do it. But I always tell them, it's like, what's going to open it up to somebody? I always tell them when I put it in the MLS and I have my automatic emails go out to all my people, they tell me what dollar they want to spend. And it's $50,000 increments. Usually it's like 500, 550, 600, six. So to me, I feel sometimes, I mean, I just feel like on a bigger dollar property, it don't make a difference on a price reduction unless it's enough to get it to the next
Right.
level
That next
of
level.
buyers.
Hmm.
But I mean, no, obviously, if you're listing $100,000 house, it's like it really doesn't. To me, it's like $5,000 a crack, and you may get somebody to finally say if you drop it below 100 grand to 95 or something, But
Right.
there ain't many of those around anymore. So
No, there's not. You are correct. Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Um, yeah. My first house that I bought in town, sidebar, I bought it for 65, sold it 2 years later for 85. And that was about 6 years ago. It just now sold for $170,000.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
So I sold at the wrong time. So
No,
that's great. Should have
should
held on to
have
it.
waited.
Right. But you're right in the fact that they're those under $100,000 properties where the small price changes might have actually mattered are just not out there anymore. Hmm. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other ideas? But what you can do to refresh your listing, get more eyes on it?
Vern, have you ever just gone into a property that's been sitting there and just did like a Facebook Live or just another video as you're walking through the property? I was kind of thinking of doing that, but I didn't know.
Well, Chris always asks me to do that stuff, she's laughing, but I'm just like horrible. I just feel like I'm like the worst. I'm not an actor. I'm not a talker on after I listen to it back, I'm like, there's no way I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying, like these, like I said last meeting or whatever too, about like these Snapchat now with Snapchat, like doing videos of Snapchat and stuff. I think there's a possibility to reach somebody on that stuff, but I think it's got to be something good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean those listing tour videos, so you could do a Facebook Live. You could do a listing tour video and post that everywhere, right? Um,
Uh, there's one question I have though. It's always too big of a file to upload or download or whatever into Facebook. So then
mhm.
how do you make it small enough or compress it enough to get it to post it to Facebook?
It's a really good question. Um, and I don't know the answer because I have not run into that before where the video's
Okay.
too big.
Chris is
You're, go ahead.
Chris might know this or something because she does it quite a bit for us,
Okay.
and but she's talking to a closing agent right at this second. But as soon as she's done, maybe we can ask her.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, another option if the video is too big is to upload it to YouTube and then
Oh, okay.
share that YouTube link on Facebook. That's a
Got it.
possibility.
Yep.
Um, I guess I've never uploaded a super long video to Facebook before.
I think
Hmm.
the YouTube's the way to go on that.
Okay. Um, Barb, have you done Facebook Lives or listening to her videos before?
No, not no. And that's why I tried and then the file was too long and then I was like, then I was like, forget it. So,
Those
'cause
barriers
I
to entry, right? At
right,
some point,
right.
you just
Well,
give up.
I
Yeah.
also felt like Vern where I'm like, oh God, I hate how I look on video. I hate how so I just got away from it and just didn't try it again. But it might be a way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of views that those listing videos get, whether it's Facebook Live or an actual listing video that you put together, the amount of views that they get are fantastic. And I was just listening to a podcast that was talking about the advertising numbers, the amount of people that those get in front of, because all of the social media is built for video now, not pictures. And so
Right.
they get pushed to so many more different people. And so you're right, Vern, you pick up more people, different people by doing those videos. Hard part is getting over that camera shyness, right? I don't like
Mhm.
my voice. I don't like how I looked. Why did I do that weird thing with my hand just there, right?
Right. I'd be
Yep.
walking around and I'll see a bird and I'd be over there looking at that. It would be like all over the place. People would be going, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Shiny object.
Yeah.
Well,
Chris is back, so maybe if Katie
yeah,
could ask her that question.
yeah, sure. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Um, when you upload videos to Facebook, have you ever had them be too big where they won't upload to Facebook?
Um, yes. But normally what I've been doing is I downsize them before I upload now because so like I'm just so like I usually do an Instagram post
Hmm.
and then you can cross post. So it's a smaller. I mean, if you can go like, I don't know, I want to say it's like I keep it under 10 seconds, for those quick whatevers. And then
Hmm.
I don't seem to have a problem. But yes, for Facebook, I have had where I've had to tone it down, but you can do that as you're posting it. So I think it's like the third step. You can take it and drag that last little bit to make it smaller if it does pop up and say it can't do it. So I don't really
Okay.
know what the magic number is. It just tells me when you go to do it. So
Okay. So you essentially just cut off the end of that video
yep, sometimes that has to
when you're in
happen.
there.
But I
Okay.
know like on CB Desk, when you can do those videos on CB Desk with their listings,
Hmm.
those are built just for that. So I never had a problem with those posting. It was like the perfect length.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
those seem to get a lot of hits, but they got to get the glitches out of CB Desk because they're a pain in the tushy to do too. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yes.
whole nother issue. But yeah, that would be way easier if we could actually use it, and it not be so
Absolutely.
clumsy. So
Yep. And which system is those videos through, Chris?
um,
Through Desk.
it is in it's not Moxie, it's the other one.
Is that Marketing Center?
Yes, it's in
Yeah,
marketing.
in
Yeah.
Marketing Center.
And then you got
Okay.
to go and find it in the drop down because I think they hide it on purpose and then it's do a video. So yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Barb, did that help a little bit? Did that answer your
It
question?
did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've done that where I've done a shorter video here and there, but it's of course when you're doing a home tour, you want to do the whole thing, so you don't want to cut it off. So I think YouTube really is going to be the way to go, and then share that link.
Yep.
Absolutely. That if it's too long, that's a great idea. Or to do
Hmm.
a live, and the live you can always stop it, right? Because you have option of looking at it and stopping it if you want to, if you're not happy with it with the
Hmm.
Facebook Live. So that's an option too. But I agree. I think we're moving more towards videos. People want to be entertained a little more, that movement.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. There's some. So, Vern, you talk about, going and looking at birds at the yard as you're doing a
I,
listing tour video.
That'd be
Mhm.
great. I do.
Well,
So
Chris,
I have a
Chris
com
says do it.
Yeah.
I have a comment about that. Chris mentioned Instagram. So there's a
Hmm.
resort for sale right up the road from us here, and I showed it yesterday.
Hmm.
And we were going through, and this lady that owns it is like a freaking awesome at social media. That's what she's built her whole business on, is the social media stuff. But what was
Cool.
weird is that in Facebook, she'd like post stuff in Facebook and Instagram. You look at her Instagram account, I and ours for Red Rider, we have like 3,500 people that
Hmm.
follow us. She has 35,000.
Wow.
But then you go to Facebook and her Facebook page has 3,200 that
Huh.
follower on Facebook compared to Instagram. And I thought that was interesting because I'm like, huh. I'm like, what clientele is there? I mean, and that's the thing with a listing, right? It's like, we be targeting people a certain listing isn't for, stairs, lake home with a bunch of stairs is why are we wasting our time? You could put on Facebook, but I think you should probably look at like Instagram, they say is a more of a younger crowd or something,
Mhm.
and maybe you got to post it more on Instagram on those listings more than Facebook. But we had the same amount of followers on
Hmm.
Facebook as she has, but in Instagram she had 35,000 compared to our 3,500.
Hmm.
And she's posting the same stuff on each site, so it's like that just shows you maybe the demographics of the people coming into the campground that she's hitting on. And
Absolutely.
maybe, yeah. So I don't know. I never thought of it until just yesterday when I went through that. I went, wow, I couldn't believe the difference. I thought she'd have the same amount of followers on both of those platforms.
Right. And no, and you're absolutely right. So Facebook is for the more the boomer generation, right?
Mhm.
Instagram is the millennials, Gen Xers, right? And into the millennials. That's who uses Instagram the most. Then when you're looking at the Gen Zers and being able to talk to them, it's the Snapchat,
Mhm.
it's the TikTok, it's those ones. I think there's another one that I'm not remembering.
But every year they get older, like I said, they start fitting into a criteria of a buyer for a lake home instead of when before when they started Instagram, they were a lot younger people. Now all of a sudden they're
Right.
26, 28, 30 years old.
Yeah, I
That,
mean Gen
yeah,
Gen Zers are every bit of 25 right now. They are
yeah,
just in the good area to be home buyers, right? And so, if you're not on TikTok, if you're not on Snapchat, or at least advertising somewhere on there, I don't know how much you're going to reach those kids. Kids, they're adults.
yeah,
They're
kids.
just
They're
young adults.
like I said, they're buying. They're starting to buy stuff, and hell, half of them
Right.
have more money than us, anyways, because they're on there shaking their ass on TikTok or whatever. They're getting paid every day, right?
It's, I mean, you're not wrong. There's a lot of ways to monetize your videos. Yes.
I mean, be honest here.
Yeah. Well, and that's right. That's another piece. So if you're going to do listing videos, you can lean into the being funny, into, going and looking at the birds and say, oh, squirrel, and then go back. There was one that I watched the other day where the gal will sit in a closet. So she'll go through the listing video. It's all very professional, very nice. And then it'll cut to her sitting in one of the closets in the bedroom. And she's just going like this, closet. Then she goes to the next bedroom, this wonderful bedroom, and here's the view and whatever. And then the next little clip is walk-in closet. She's like laying down on the floor. People respond to that. It gets you views, it gets you likes. And if that little bit of silliness then gets more eyes on the property, that's going to help us stay a listing.
Katie,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Ashley Nelson's texting me. She's trying to get in. I'm so not tech savvy. Is there a button to like let her in or something?
There is on my side, and I just hit admit. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Um, so, I mean, I know the listing videos shouldn't be super professional. So when you say you're worried about, saying the wrong thing or getting off on a squirrel, looking at a bird, um, more people are going to relate to the video or going to watch the video and then going to share the video if it's you normally, right?
Right.
So think about yourself walking through a house with an actual buyer, you know, and what you would be showing them and the conversations that you would be having them because funny things happen when you're on showings, right? They just do. Somebody turns on the bidet because they don't know what it is and they get sprayed in the
Mhm.
face. Like that happens. Hmm. Okay. What other ideas? Anything you can think of? What about an acreage listing, right? Acreages are a little harder to refresh because they're, trees. Uh, what could you do to refresh an acreage listing?
How about a drone video listing, like ad, just go out there with the drone and then post that wherever you post.
Hmm. All the places, all the
Yeah,
social
all the
medias.
places.
Absolutely. A drone video would be good. Yeah. Do you guys do drone videos right now? Does anybody do drone videos?
Not really
Drone pictures.
videos. I have a guy
Okay.
that just does drone photography, but no one
Hmm.
has really come forward in this area that I know of that does the videos.
Okay.
Hi. So,
Hi.
Hi, Ashley.
um, okay, so now I have caught up to where you were. Sorry, I was waiting.
That's okay. That was
Tiffany,
my fault. Yes.
Tiffany Anderson did a drone video on her property on Greystone last year to get that sold, and it looked really nice. I don't know who she used, but we could reach out to her as a resource for the Sauk Center, Glenwood area, Barb.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank
Hmm
you.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that would
seen
be
a
great.
listing once where they drove, like he took the drone and they went right through the house with it.
Hmm.
Oh, that would be
Like
cool.
it was cool. It was like he flew down the driveway and they had the door open and it flew right into the house and it
Oh,
flew right through the house and went up and around the property again. It was pretty cool that Brandon Headland. He
oh.
he did one once like that. I don't know who he hired to do it, but it was cool. It was
Hmm.
really nice.
Yeah. And I mean, so think about the same concept for an acreage listing. You could go on the trails, right? Up into the deer stands, um, over the water features. Um,
I have a drone, but everybody's stuff in their house would be shot by the time I was done. I
knocking
got it
everything
through
off the
windows,
mantle.
TV off the wall.
Huh, maybe we need to do some classes on how to drive a drone. That might be helpful. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Anything else for an acreage? Would you do an open house at an acreage?
No, I wouldn't.
No. What about a bonfire?
Burn the woods down. Then,
Right.
Well, okay, maybe not right now. You're
yeah.
right.
If you want
Um,
any trees left.
Yeah, I call the seller on that one. Oops.
uh-huh. So we had an agent in the Park Rapids area one time do a um bonfire open house. And so what they did was they put it out to the area, right? Hey, we're doing a bonfire. We'll have s'mores. And then they had their spouse drive people around on like a hayride tour, right?
Oh, that's
Of the
cool.
property. And it just, all it did was gain exposure. None of those people who came to the bonfire were the ones who bought the property, but it was one of the people at the bonfire who have found the buyer, right? Who was talking about it. And hey, you're looking for this acreage. This is it because they came to the bonfire. So different, right? Still got to advertise at the front for so everybody can know so they can come.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Um, yeah, just different off the wall. What about some luxury ideas? What if you have a luxury property that's stale?
You could do a cocktail open house, cocktail bar open house during happy hour, something like that. I would do that.
Cocktails and appetizers, that'd be kind of fun.
Hmm.
And not really have it on the weekend, or then you could do kind of a brunch type thing. But I would do it like on a Tuesday or a Thursday evening, do something like that.
Right? You're thinking about your clientele of who's buying luxury
Right.
homes and what their
Hmm.
time frames are. Yeah, it's a great idea.
This might be something easy, but those flags you see, for open houses that we use, those big flags,
Hmm.
just to bring someone's attention to the property, it always catches my attention. So that's just something easy that you could stick out there, get people to
Yeah.
drive by.
That's what I need on County Road 28 down in Glenwood. I need one of those things that fly around and
Yeah,
bounce and with an arrow pointing in.
there you
So
go.
the little
Um,
guy,
yeah. I mean, at the very least, it makes people look,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What other things could you do for a luxury open house?
Well, I mean, the broker open is kind of nice too for something like that because it gets, what's the one comment we always get? This house looks so different than in the pictures, right? So then you need the agents to go through there and look at it,
Usually that
Absolutely.
comment, usually that comment is though that it looks worse than the pictures.
right? Yeah.
People go, "Oh my God, I thought it was a lot nicer than this." I'm like, trick photography. I always tell them we're good at.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's definitely a possible problem that it looks worse than the pictures.
Hmm.
But yeah, broker opens are fantastic. How do broker opens work in your guys' area? Do you have an easy, does your association reach out to everybody and
No,
tell everybody about the brokers open? Okay.
No, we
Nobody does
have
them.
to ourselves through the association. We can send something out there. I don't
Okay.
think there's a huge turnout, but it's kind of nice, to at
Hmm.
least do it. I've only done it a couple of times here.
Okay.
Barb, that's how I met you. Remember on your broker
Yes.
open.
Yeah.
I
Right.
waltzed into your Villard listing and I mean, yeah, we just hit it off.
Yep.
So,
Hmm.
um,
That's
otherwise
great.
advertising in the newspaper, I'm thinking like luxury. I'm thinking, maybe older folks have, they're more paper who have more money. I mean,
Could
it's just
be. Yeah.
they're
Right.
more looking at papers, magazines. You could throw an ad in a luxury home magazine.
Hmm.
I don't know, just different
Do
thoughts.
those do you find those really pay off? Because
I don't know.
I'm always
I've never
getting,
done
I've
those.
never, I mean, I used to do more stuff like that down in the Minneapolis area because it just seemed like it had more eyes. I don't know. But up here, I don't know. It feels like a lot of money to, if you're spending
Yeah,
500 bucks on an ad for one thing that they can look at once and throw away, then that's a ton of Facebook advertising.
right. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And then so maybe it makes more sense if you know your target area for buyers is in the cities. You
Yeah,
just run a targeted Facebook ad for
right
that
down
for
there.
your property instead. That your bang for your buck might be better. Vern,
Right.
have you ever done specialty advertising in newspapers or magazines?
No, not
Yeah.
really.
Okay.
I feel the same way. It's like you get that, I don't know, 1 millionth chance. It seems like somebody actually looks at it and then
Yeah.
reacts to it. Otherwise, it's just pretty pictures and they move on. We used to have property source back in the day here, and that's what I felt there is people just say, "Oh, I look at that because there's such pretty houses in it." It was like it didn't really do anything, but you spent money. But you had to do it to, again, anything you can do to try to for the listing for the seller. But I just feel it's like, yeah, to me, it's like, how do you not just use social media and hope, spend the money on that and do a better job with it, and you see so many more people see it for the dollars.
Vern, do you guys have digital billboards in your area yet?
There is some up on 371 and stuff, but I won't advertise over there just because it's like, again, it's out of my area a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but we don't have anything right in our area. It's all up on 371 and Baxter. And there's only probably on those, there's probably only, I think there might be two. So, which
What
I
about
don't
the,
like those anyways, because I'm sure they're cheaper to do, but every time you drive by, you're only seeing that one that's on there. Normally
Right.
it's not, doesn't flash enough times where you don't know how many times the impression you're getting that way, where a regular billboard, it's there every time.
Right.
And again, I don't know what your billboards cost down there, but I feel ours are reasonable at $400 a month.
Hmm.
For one
Yeah, for
billboard.
one. I
Yeah.
pay like that big one. I mean, it's 16 by 32, I think, lit at night, and it's 404.
I think ours are more than that because as a group, we were paying with four people on the billboard, we were paying either 200 or
Mhm.
400, two or 250.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know it depends on which road you're on too, just because of
Yeah.
obviously there's more traffic, but like Highway 6 is a main corridor coming up, which I feel is a pretty heavy traffic, and 210, everybody from Brainerd's coming this way, and that one's actually cheaper on 210 because it's a little smaller. But otherwise, to me, I don't know. For me, it's like I think a billboard is there as long as you keep it relevant and just your picture with your name on it, like a lot of them, and the pictures 20 years ago. Um, it's when you drive by and you're like, holy cow, glamour shot, or whatever. But I still feel it's like for your money, that amount of people that see that, it's way better than a $400 ad in the news, like you're saying, in a newspaper or something. That's just one
Yeah.
time. I mean, I guess you can see Chris Lindell, right? Why does he has every billboard down there, or Chad Schwendeman now, he's doing the same thing as guaranteed
Right.
offer. And he has billboard on top of billboard because it just keeps pounding into people's head when they drive by every billboard you see, who are you going to remember?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are billboards good for stale listings?
Could be. You
Could
wanted to
be.
spend the money to put the listing on it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that too, but it costs you $400 I mean, it's $400 it's actually, I thought it's
Mhm.
very cheap too. It's $400 to print a billboard.
Are the
Right.
So
digital ones cheaper? Because like I know our billboards, they're not digital, but they were like $1,000.
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
it's just comes down. You mean to print?
Well, just the big billboards that aren't digital, they're like a
Yeah, but
thousand dollars.
it comes down to, I think, the traffic. I mean, if you go to 94, obviously the billboards are $5,000 because their traffic count is so high on them, so they get better money for them.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
like I said, if you get on certain, depending on what road you're looking at, compared to the
These are,
371 is going to be
Like
higher
Broad.
than Highway
yeah,
210 because there's more
these
traffic.
are right in town.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
ones right in Crosby, is it Lamar there or is it Carl?
Lamar,
Lamar.
Lamar, yeah. And you can negotiate obviously with them too, but otherwise we have those ones right in town too here, and they were like 450, 500 for a month. And right on 210 in this right in the city, there's two of them.
oh my
But you can
gosh.
actually print, put a listing on there as long as you're willing to spend the money and then you take it off. But that's the only problem with them, it takes 30 days. So
Right.
you can have a listing that's sold and it's still sitting there advertised, which again, I guess you might get a call, but
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that idea, Vern. I mean, 30 days for $500, lots of eyes. If it is
Yeah.
sold, still accept the calls and maybe there you can help them with something else. I mean,
Yeah. And like I said,
pick up
and
a
if you,
buyer.
you never know. It's like you don't, it could be, you could put multiple listings on there and put sold on some of them or something and to
Hmm.
promote it too. But otherwise, I would say I just, I always have went with something that, about like biking or, like during the election, something funny like that. But if you talk to them, I know that they would be able to print them probably. If you had a plan like mine, it's like, oh, I got to get that printed. And usually it takes them about 3 weeks to get it put up. So it's usually a turnaround of 30 days.
Hmm.
You could do something as simple as, is this my new home? And then put the MLS number on it. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
is this your new home? Because they're driving so fast, you want to make it quick.
Yep.
They have to
Right.
remember the MLS number, so you got to make it very quick. And I mean, I love that idea actually for a luxury home. I mean,
Hmm.
you can drop $500 pretty darn quick, like everyone says for advertising, and think about the amount of eyes. And yeah, it sits there for 30
Right.
days. Who cares?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Well, and it could be, I mean, I know we're talking about stale listings, but that could be part of your marketing package is that you
Yeah.
withhold it for 30 days so that you can get that billboard ready to go and up and running, right?
Yep.
So that as soon as you go active, the billboard's up and running as well.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
get a listing. You say, I'm going to put your house on a billboard on the highway. It's like that's could be a pretty good on a nice listing. I mean, if it's $2 million,
Mhm.
somebody might be really excited about having you have it on a billboard like that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody ever change up the actual ad copy
In
on
the
your listing
MLS,
in the MLS?
it's a good idea.
Like the description you're talking, Katie?
Yeah, yeah, like the public remarks, like why, what you're talking about on this property,
Mhm.
right? So changing up the ad copy to highlight different features, that definitely helps. And what I usually have our agents do is I have them change up the ad copy, change up the title of the listing, you know, Beltane Lake Home, and instead of putting Beltane Lake Home, you say 3-bedroom home on a sandy shoreline. And then you change the ad copy. And then if you change the picture at the same time, not even taking new pictures, just switching, like instead of the outside of the home, maybe you do a picture of the beach, or maybe you do the kitchen, but just that first picture. So it tricks people into thinking, oh, I haven't seen this one before.
Right. Good idea.
Hmm. And then if the ad copy is different as well, it helps people think it's a brand new listing where you don't have to actually cancel it and relist for. Hmm. I had another one that I just thought of as we were talking, but now I forgot. Um,
Sorry, I'm just right.
hopefully, hopefully we don't have too many stale listings going forward coming up. We'll see.
Right.
So far, inventory is still down. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at the numbers, to look at the March numbers that just came out, but inventory is still down everywhere. And so hopefully that helps with these stale listings. I know Ashley's writing, so right? I was waving too. Hi.
Sorry, I'm just writing these down so I have it like in my notebook.
Yes.
Do a print screen.
Oh yeah. You're good, Barb. Thank you.
Hmm. Any other ideas you can think of off the top of your head? I love the Facebook Live and the listing tour videos. just because the algorithm is meant to boost those. Used to be Facebook, you would, post something, post some giveaway and say, like, share, and comment on this. And
Hmm.
that's how we tricked the algorithm, right? Into putting us on top. And then we'd give away something. Or some companies just would never give away anything. They just said they would. Um, and
Nice.
now the algorithm is made to boost videos.
Oh,
So the more videos you do, I know Ashley's really leaning into that in her business, her personal advertising stuff is doing videos. The algorithm is meant to boost videos.
sometimes what happens though is like, it hits the market and then my video's not quite ready on this. Drew Thomas, can you sneak out? I'm sorry, there's no school for 5 days.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Um, but no, like on this last one I did, we had it sold and then they pulled their offer, so then we went back to active, and then I quickly threw my video together, and by the time the video even barely posted, I think it was on for 1 day, I already had it under contract. So it's like, oh shoot, that was a lot of money, but what do? You don't know
Yeah.
that. So I'm preparing, for so
Do,
whatever. But
do you have somebody edit them, Ashley?
yeah,
Is that
so
it?
I have photographers, whoever I hire.
Okay.
Yep, they put it all together. They do it from start to finish. Sometimes they'll do an overlay like with just my voice talking about things, and then they'll zoom through the house. Sometimes they'll put me on camera while I talk about it and then show the pictures. Sometimes I'll do a complete walkthrough. I mean, it kind of depends on what they want. So,
What does that cost?
so about 400 with photos, drone, and the video.
Okay.
So that Tacker Media, Barb
Yep.
and Alec, he
Yep.
does a lot of my stuff. But I did find one down in Spicer, Minnesota that hits like Belgrade.
All right.
Him too. His name was Matt. He was good. Mhm.
Mhm. There's also some options that you can do online. Fiverr, FIVRR.com. And so it's a gig work website where people are offering their services for one-off stuff. And there are people on there who specialize in real estate videos. So you take the
Oh,
video, you take the pictures, and then you send it through their Fiverr system to whoever you choose to do your gig work, right? Um, and then they put it together for you. And so the agents who have used it, it's usually a 24-hour turnaround. They'll send the video to them at noon and they have it by noon the next day. So that's another option if you guys are really looking at somebody else to be able to do that editing, because that editing of the videos
yeah.
is what takes forever.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
cost? Do you know on that, Katie?
It depends on which person you use. So because it's
Oh,
gig work, everybody sets their own price
okay.
on there. And so obviously the more experienced people are going to be more expensive. But I've seen $10, $20 per hour, and they usually knock these videos out in about a 2 hour, 3 hour period. So it's much cheaper than somebody doing it here, is what we found. Most On that same note, most of the time these people are overseas, right, doing
I'll
this.
keep my
So,
business here. Thank you.
and that's also just fine. I wanted to let you know that up front for that reason.
Yep.
Yes.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. But here's the deal, Ashley, with getting $400 and you're getting pictures, drone photography, and they're doing your video or editing your video
That's
for
really
you,
good.
that's a really good price for all of those
Okay.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well,
Mm-hmm.
good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Fiverr's another option.
Mhm.
Um, all right, wait, Ashley, did you write everything that you wanted to write?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I gotta find the stop sharing button. Yes, I want to continue that. Okay. So we talked a little bit about, everybody see this? We talked a little bit about what's considered a stale listing, right? And so I'll send this out when I send out the recording of the mastermind. But we had talked about it's on the market for about a month. And this is our area, right? In hot pocket areas, so like Brainerd area, really good lakes in the Park Rapids area. 2 to 3 weeks is even a little long for a property to stay on the market. That's what's termed a stale listing. Um, do any of you pay attention to list track and the numbers that come through on list track on how many people are looking at
Mhm.
property? Yeah.
Yeah, a little
We
bit. Yep.
Yeah. So the biggest indicator on with list track is that there's a drop off in online views. That's how you know your listing is stale. That means people are mousing over the picture or the little icon, seeing what property it is, and they're not even clicking into it. They're not looking at it, right? So if you see a drop off in those views, you know you got to change something, change up something to get um more views, to get the right buyer. How many of you guys have gotten repetitive feedback from agents,
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, there's mold on this window, and you get that over and over and over again. Maybe putting something in the ad once the seller fixes that, saying no more mold on the window. Maybe not in the public remarks. Maybe that needs to be an agent remarks.
Right.
Or sending out a notice on showing time, say to all the agents who have shown the property before, hey, this issue that everybody brought up, it's now been fixed. That might be helpful. Helpful. Okay. So those go over a little bit about stuff we've already talked about. And then we have 30 days, sorry, 30 ways, not days. And we talked about a lot of these, about how to refresh a listing, how to rebrand and remarket it, right? So we talked about the new listing title, new listing description, new photo shoot, drone and aerial footage. We didn't talk about this one, virtually staging.
Mhm.
Did anybody sent their photos to a company that does the virtual staging?
I was
No?
going to with one I had this past year, and then it sold before I had to do that.
Yeah. So I know Kelly Johnson has done virtual staging a couple times. I don't remember which system she used, but I know she's done it. Um, and you just the only thing you have to do is make sure that on the photo description that you say this photo has been virtually staged, right?
Right.
So people
Mhm.
don't assume that this is stuff in there, but it helps. It really helps. So people can, especially if it's a vacant home. How do people know that a bed can fit in this bedroom or what it might
Right.
look like? Like, not everybody has that ability to be able to envision that. And so, sending over even a couple photos, you don't have to do all of them. Maybe you just send the kitchen and the dining room and the living room over, and they virtually stage those ones. Um, I thought this was super interesting, and I didn't even realize that I have seen agents do this before. Give a home a name,
Uh-huh. I love it.
right?
Love it.
And then call it that your whole time. Like we as agents all have weird names for properties, right? The chicken in the basement property, like that's not a name that we want to give it when we're advertising it. Um, but to give it a cool name and then to use that in your advertising, that's great. So highlight other features, right? Change the MLS thumbnail, that first picture,
Mhm.
right? Emphasize a different selling point. Launch a why you missed this campaign on social media. That's a good tagline. Makes people click on it, right? Pay attention. We talked about running Facebook and Instagram ads. Here's that TikTok and Instagram Reels with trending sounds. So if you watch videos on TikTok or Instagram, you'll hear that there's sounds behind them. I'm sure, Ashley, I think you were used a sound recently. Did
Mm,
you? Or is that somebody else?
I don't know.
I anyway, I did see someone use a trending sound. So when you go to make a video in either TikTok or Instagram, there is a place where you can add sound, where you can add music. And if you click on that, it'll give a list of what the trending sounds are right now. And because those sounds are trending, people are searching for videos with those specific sounds. So if you make a video with that specific sound, you're going to boost your advertising of that. And some of them are funny sounds. It's some voiceover of somebody talking to somebody else. Some of them are songs that are really popular right now. So if you're gonna get into video, that's just a quick tip. You can use carousel posts, run engagement, send an e-blast.
Hmm.
Does anybody post theirs on their Google business page? Post your
No.
listings on there?
Unless it does it automatic, no.
Yep. So that's an
I
option. I mean, go ahead.
Katie, I was doing that with the office stuff here, and I actually got flagged
Oh.
because we had a farm and they flagged me for selling animals.
No way.
Oh yeah, and then it was just like we got caught in that loop, so I just quit doing it because it wasn't worth the time that you have to
Okay.
put in to do it. So it just has the basic office things, and then if anybody gets a good review, we'll put that up. But yeah, it's just they're getting really picky with it, so I wouldn't
Okay.
recommend it. And then the upkeep of it too, of taking things down and price change and
Right.
photos difference, and yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt to
Yeah.
maintain it. So,
Yeah, and you're not wrong. That is the piece about all of these things is that it has to be maintained, right?
well, and
Um,
the
mhm.
reviews though, that's where we get our reviews. That's the link I use to do the reviews for like Vern. So that's
Yep,
where I send out, hey, would you mind going here and doing this review? So, and they've got the link and it goes and it's great. So that's been really helpful with that. And then I put it on his website when I get it back because it
right.
allows, it tells me it's been done.
Okay.
And the other,
Yes.
I wanted to mention too, I use AI tons. So if you can't think of a quick little line as far as what your listing is, or if you want something kind of cool, a catchphrase or something, it will help you with all of that. If you just want a one sentence, you could put in your whole listing information and it would capture something kind of fun and quirky if that's what you wanted, or professional. So I would definitely recommend if anybody hasn't used it, use it. It helps and it saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. How many of you use AI to write the listing descriptions or the listing titles?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, but I should. Thank you.
Of course. Because that's usually the hardest part, right? Like I
Uh-huh.
remember as an agent, I would fill out everything else, have everything else done, and that listing description would be just sitting there for way longer
Right.
than it should, to the point where I'd avoid it because it took a lot of brain power and a lot of time to put everything together. If somebody called me on the phone, I'd be able to spew a whole bunch of wonderful things about this house I just listed, right? To put it in paper, on paper, in writing was just harder. And so with AI, you can spew like you're on the phone with somebody. Here's all of the wonderful things about this house. Here you go. Write me a cool ad and keep it under the character limit. Because how many remember when North Star only had 500 characters allowed in the ad?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
What is it now, Katie?
I think they upped it to 2,000.
Okay.
They upped it from 500 to 1,000, and I think they just recently upped it again to two. Which, I mean, I think 2,000 is too long,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I think 1,000 is good, but I think 2,000 is too long. People are going to stop reading about halfway through. Does anybody have a different opinion? My opinion is not always the right opinion.
No, I don't think people like to read that much. You know that, you know.
Right.
Yeah, they don't. No one reads instructions. Nobody, so you're only going to read what you have to. But I had
Yes.
I did bullet points with it for like our paper ads. So I just put in, okay, I just cut and pasted. Okay, I want bullet points of it. And this thing drew that out for me. I was like, oh, great. I can just cut, paste that, put it in where I need to. It was great.
Yeah. Don't don't forget to look it over.
Yeah,
Don't
you got to
forget to
check it
read
because
it. You got to
it's not
check it.
perfect. Yeah, it's
Right.
not perfect. But the more you use it and you log in and use your login, it gets to know you, which is really creepy. But
Yes.
it does learn.
Yeah. Yep. It is great. So if you haven't used it, definitely start using it and see how that works out. Okay, one more I wanted to highlight, and then I'll let you go. You guys will get this document with the video when I send it out to everybody, is create a video map of what's nearby to boost the lifestyle appeal of the property you're trying, of the sale listing, right? I thought that was a really cool one.
Just
You know,
something.
and
Oh, sorry, Katie, go ahead.
yeah, and well, I was just gonna say, it could be as easy as doing a quick drone video um to these different places, especially if it's close in town, right? If it's on a lake in town, but it's got a whole bunch of stuff right around it, a city
Mhm.
park or museum, anything like that.
Mhm. I was just gonna say,
Hmm.
we're doing so like with Jordan, Barb, and Vern, the next wherever I'm at. So if I'm in Sauk Center next time I talk to him about this already, I want him to highlight like the top 5 items why to live in Sauk Center or top 5 things that draw someone to Osakis. So like Osakis, what are they known for? Well, I love their little ice cream parlor, right? Doesn't everybody? The line is super long. So the next time we get together or wherever the listing is, I want him to take shots of certain landmarks in the community. Like Sauk Center is known for its movie theater. So as he puts my video together, then I want him to show some of the stuff in that community because you never know. It might be someone from moving up from out of state or, moving from the cities up this way. So that's kind of, I want him to, yeah, recognize the community a little bit more and not just the house. So that was my idea.
It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It is 10 o'clock on the dot. Did anybody have anything else that they wanted to add?
Nope.
No? Okay. I think we gave a whole bunch of different ideas. I would love to hear if you try any of these ideas and they work. Or if they don't work, actually. Tell me either way. Um, because every house is different, every area is different, and so different advertising possibilities are going to work differently in different markets.
Right.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Well, you guys go enjoy your Thursday. Thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll see you at the all team meeting on May 6th.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks,
Okay,
Katie.
thanks. Bye.